What's up, hungry people? My name is Rob. Today I'm going to be cooking some mac and cheese for you guys. It's a great dish that you can make on the fly. It's a great dish you can make for groups of big people. It's a great dish for rainy days like we got today. It's Sunday out, there's nothing better to do than sit back, relax, enjoy some mac and cheese. So without any further ado, let's dive into some ingredients here. First and foremost, we've got about 2 pounds of pasta. We've got our breadcrumbs. You're going to need about a cup and a half of those. Flour, not going to need too much, about 3 tablespoons or so. About 2 cups of milk. And then your seasoning is going to be standard salt, pepper. We got chili powder, garlic powder, and dried onion flakes. We've got our selection of cheeses here for our cheese sauce. We've got cheddar, sharp cheddar. We've got smoked Gruyere, and we've got smoked Gouda. A third pound of the Gouda, third pound of the Gruyere, about a half pound of the cheddar. Pyrex dish for your mac and cheese. This is going to be a baked mac and cheese. You're going to need, obviously, a pasta strainer for when the pasta comes out. Optional, you can use a whisk. Fork or whisk is fine, and a sifter for the flour. Pots and pans, get some water boiling, which we already got going. That's pretty much it. You're going to need an oven preheated to about 400 degrees. It's going to be placed on the top rack for 20 minutes. Start to finish is probably about 30 to 45 minutes. So, let's get started here. We're going to start off with this cheese sauce. You're going to start with making a basic roux, which is a mixture of even parts fat and flour. I'm going to put about 4 tablespoons of butter. And as that melts, flour. We're going to count out about 3 or 4 of these bad boys. You don't got to sift it, but I feel like it incorporates better into the butter if you do. Alright. So you want to be doing this on low. Just kind of mix it around. You don't want it to stick to the pan. Use a little bit more butter. What you're looking for here is a consistency of pretty much wet sand. So it's almost there. Like I said, I could have used a little bit less flour or a little bit more butter, but I'm going to fix that real quick by just adding a little bit more butter. And what you're going to want to do is just kind of work it around the pan for a couple of minutes. That's about the consistency we're looking for. Cook out that taste of flour on low heat. Alright, so our roux has been cooking down for about 2 to 3 minutes. You can see the flour's been nice and incorporated into the butter. There's no clumps. Next step is going to be to incorporate this milk. I went ahead and microwaved this milk just before I started, so it's a little bit warm. Add it in gradually to this roux, a little bit at a time. You're going to watch it begin to thicken up. Go ahead and just add the last little bit. And just work on getting that nice and hot. Now, you're not necessarily looking for a thick, like a bechamel. You're not looking for that just yet, because this cheese is really going to thicken this sauce up. And as it continues to kind of cook and the water evaporates out of it, it's going to continue to thicken. It may look a little runny right now, but it's where you want it. You'll see as the sauce develops that it's going to get nice and thick. So you don't want to add too much salt or pepper in the front, but at the end when you taste it, adjust as necessary. So a couple cracks of fresh black pepper. I think that was about 9 or 10 there. And then just a couple cracks of salt. So in total, I'd say it's probably about a quarter teaspoon to half a teaspoon of each. And that's just going to kind of keep it from tasting too bland up front. We can go ahead and start incorporating this cheddar. You always want to, if you can, get your hands on some cheese fresh off the block. It's going to melt a lot nicer. It's going to give you a much more genuine taste. And as it melts down little by little, you can go ahead and incorporate more cheese. I went ahead and added the remainder of the cheddar cheese, so there's a total of a half pound of cheddar cheese in here. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to sprinkle in about a quarter teaspoon of garlic powder. Like I said, you don't want to overpower the cheese with any specific flavor. You still want it to taste like a mac and cheese. You don't want to go too fancy. And then just a little bit of dried minced onion flake. So about a quarter teaspoon of that as well. All right, a quarter teaspoon of chili powder. Just going to give it a nice little kick. Going to go ahead and start adding this beautiful smoked Gruyere. And we're going to go ahead and add that smoked Gouda as well. All right, so we went ahead and incorporated the rest of the cheeses. Move it to the back here. Keep it on low. And this is where we're gonna start our breadcrumbs. So first and foremost, pasta in. Always, 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 always salt your pasta water. Super al dente on this. The box says, 7 minutes for al dente? We're gonna go 6 minutes because it's going to continue to bake in the cheese sauce after we put it in the oven. Super al dente in the salted pasta water. We're gonna get started on our breadcrumbs. We're gonna melt down some butter. We're gonna need more than that. I actually think I ran out of butter, but that's fine because improvising is always something you gotta be good with in the kitchen. So we got about a tablespoon of butter in there. It's not gonna be enough for the breadcrumbs, I can tell you right now. What you're gonna wanna do is essentially saturate the breadcrumbs. You know, you could use a little half and half of butter and olive oil. Like I said, you're gonna use probably about a cup and a half of breadcrumbs. Like I said, you just want to saturate the breadcrumbs in that olive oil and butter. You'll see the saturated part kind of get dark, like wet sand, so to speak. I'd say the breadcrumbs are nice and saturated. They're lightly toasted off already. Give your sauce a little mix. Like that, over to the strainer. And we strain the pasta. Pasta back into the bowl. Give it a light little mix, kind of get that water out of there, that steam out of there. And then the moment everybody's been waiting for, that cheese. And give our cheese a quick little whisk.
Oh, yeah.
So you want to make sure that you add more cheese than less cheese. I know you may not be a fan of cheese soup in your mac and cheese, so to speak. But like I said, it's going to get a lot thicker in the oven as it kind of cooks down.
Oh,
yeah. Over to the pan.
Mac and cheese in.
We're going to come over to our breadcrumbs and just kind of... I don't like the thickest layer of breadcrumbs. I like just enough to kind of really prevent the mac and cheese from getting burnt in the oven. Even coat all over, and I'd say she's pretty ready for the oven. All right, so you're gonna take it. Like I said, your oven should be preheated at 400 degrees. Top rack. Oh, about 15-20 minutes or so, or until you start to see that top layer of breadcrumbs get to the color or crispiness of your desiredness. Take it out. It's gonna be about 20 minutes before you can even eat it. It's gonna be piping hot. Let it cool. And we'll get back to you after about 15 to 20 minutes once this thing's nice and baked up. All right, so time has passed. It's about 15 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less actually. Breadcrumbs are nice and toasted, ready to come out. Oh yeah, nice, nice. You gotta let it cool. This cheese is piping hot. You gotta let it cool at least 20 minutes before you can dig into it. All right, mac and cheese is cooled. Got a nice crust. Hear that? Time to serve. Oh, listen to that, listen to that. Oh. There you go.
Thanks, Chef.
Oh yeah, let me take a look at this. Come and take a look at this. Delicious. There you go, Mike. There you go, Richie. We've got our test subjects digging into the food.
Ooh,
That is awesome. The breadcrumbs are awesome on there.
that's all I got for you.
What Mike said. That shit's magnifique. All right, so that's baked mac and cheese. We got Gouda, Gruyere, cheddar. We got breadcrumbs. We made a roux. We salted our pasta. Popped that sucker in the oven. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Bon appetit.